Many past conflicts have taught us to what extent we can stop being human to become inhuman. It is not a lie that the objective of war is to destroy your enemy, but in what way? The weapons that you're about to see were so brutal, ruthless and cruel that countries from all over the world agreed through treaties and agreements that they had to be prohibited from any present or future warfare. I think you don't have to be a genius to know the reasons why there are prohibited weapons in the world. However, these 10 by far are the most brutal that have ever existed. Get ready to learn about 10 prohibited weapons in war. The use of expansive bullets in warfare was prohibited because of its lethal and painful results compared to an ordinary bullet of the same caliber. This type of bullets break when they come into contact with soft tissue, releasing different fragments that remain trapped inside the body, like shrapnel. The best known example of this type of ammunition is hollow point bullets. Another big problem is that when hitting an obstacle they can fragment, which can injure innocent people who are nearby. There is not much more to say about these bullets. There is simply no need to do such damage to someone, and also take the risk of hurting innocent people. Landmines are possibly one of the most demoralizing and heinous weapons. Just knowing that the terrain you're going to walk through is full of explosives that you can't see is terrifying. These mines are designed primarily to kill or injure people, as opposed to vehicles. They are often designed to injure rather than kill to increase the logistic support burden on the opposing force. Past conflicts have shown us that anti-personnel mines turned out to be a highly effective weapon in lowering enemy morale and collapsing their medical service. In the world, there are still more than 110 million active mines spread over 64 countries. Each year, some 26,000 people are killed or maimed by these explosive devices. Napalm is a gelatinous gasoline that burns much longer than regular gasoline. The objective of this weapon was to set fire. Set fire to what? Anything, but mostly people. Napalm easily sticks to any surface, even human skin. Direct contact with flaming napalm results in full thickness burns. Large surface area contact results in rapid loss of blood pressure, loss of consciousness and death. Many surviving soldiers of the war ended up with terrible, deep and painful burns that disable them for the rest of their lives. Using it against civilians is a war crime, but this has not stopped its use in many conflicts around the world. It is impossible to accept the idea of winning a war by burning your enemies alive. There is no honor in that. Lasers are used for various activities in warfare, from improving the accuracy of a rifle to shooting down enemy planes or drones. However, there are lasers that, depending on their wavelength, have the ability to cause loss of vision or permanent blindness if they are aimed at the eyes. International treaties stopped the production and use of this type of artifact in any confrontation as it was considered unnecessary. In the same way, the signatory countries of the treaty are prohibited from supplying this type of weapons to countries that aren't part of it. The world has learned enough about chemical weapons. Since the First World War, the first chemical gases such as chlorine gas or mustard gas were created. A death from noxious gases is one of the most agonizing and painful deaths. In addition to being the cause of pollution in the environment, chlorine gas has the ability to burn your lungs to death by suffocation. The use of chemical gases is punishable throughout the world, and its use is considered a war crime. Cluster bombs are punishable for one simple reason. The pilot cannot determine exactly where the bombs will land. They are weapons that sacrifice precision in exchange for covering a much larger area, endangering both civilian structures and non-combatants. For this reason, many innocent people died from this ineffective weapon. Another reason why this type of bomb is prohibited is that on various occasions, and for adverse reasons, the bombs fell but did not explode. Thus, they were scattered all over the place and generated an extremely dangerous minefield that could be activated at any time. Somehow, biological weapons didn't emerge in this era. They go back to very ancient times. A clear example is the conquest of Mexico by the Spanish, who brought numerous viruses and bacteria from the other side of the world. The Aztecs' immune system was not prepared to deal with these type of diseases, which claimed the lives of some 3 million people. This was decisive for the victory of the Spanish. However, biological warfare in these times would be a nightmare brought to life. A government cannot have in mind to create a virus that has the capacity to kill an entire population. Furthermore, a biological weapon cannot be controlled, cannot be contained, cannot be eradicated as easily, and could backfire on those who used it. Viruses have the ability to evolve, move, and become deadlier. Pongee Sticks had their heyday in the Vietnam War. These had many advantages. One of them was that they were very easy to manufacture. What's more, economic resources were not even needed to make them. They consisted of making a hole in the ground and placing pointed branches in the hole. It was covered with branches and leaves and became completely invisible in the thickness of the jungle. When a soldier stepped into the trap, his weight made him fall with great force and speed into the hole. Their legs almost always ended up being amputated. However, the Viet Cong took it to another level. What they did was put excrement or urine on the tips of the sticks. In this way, when they entered the body of an enemy soldier, they caused infections and diseases that ended up killing them. Spike traps are pretty much the same as mines, but with a more rudimentary concept. Flamethrowers in war are completely off limits. The World Wars and the Cold War showed us that it is a very effective weapon, but sometimes counterproductive. Its operation is pretty straightforward. The gas is expelled through the gun assembly by its own pressure and is ignited at the exit of the barrel through a piezo ignition. Just imagine the death of a person by a flamethrower. All the skin and organs of him would melt and scorch in a long time, causing such a painful and agonizing death that it would be better to be shot. Flamethrower tanks were even manufactured. These destroyed everything in their path. Nuclear weapons are today the most devastating weapon possessed by humans. It is one of the weapons with which we could literally end up completely exterminating ourselves. These weapons work through nuclear reactions such as igniting or fusion. Its effects are catastrophic. You just have to take a look at the atomic bombs of Hiroshima and Nagasaki to have a closer idea of what a current nuclear weapon could be, which is far above of these ancient bombs. The Tsar bomb, the king of bombs in English, was a Soviet thermonuclear bomb that was detonated in a test in the Arctic Ocean on October 30, 1961. That was the largest nuclear weapon ever set off. It produced the most powerful human-made explosion ever recorded. This bomb released approximately 4,000 times as much energy as the bomb detonated over Hiroshima. Here is a diagram comparing some of the most powerful bombs ever built. What do you think? Should more weapons be prohibited? Allow more? Did I miss any? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe and stay tuned for the next video.